And here's how we start every huddle. Time waits for no one. It's 8:45. So I'll do a quick introduction. No, it's not 8:45.
It's time to go.
Yeah, it is time to go. I'm in my adaptive D mode, so don't get in my way. That's a joke because I'm a high I. See, that's what high-eyes do. They joke about being D. That should be my bit. I'm gonna turn that into a bit. What do high-eyes do? They joke about being Ds. So you guys have a background. I met Kathy at the Fargo Hatch Coaching Summit. She is a full-time ISA for Chip Hinton. Is that it?
Chip Glennon, yes.
Chip Glennon. And you guys are in Kansas City. How many transactions does Chip do a year, just roughly? You guys do?
Approximately 250 last year, and we're stretching for 300 this year.
And he's an excellent auctioneer. So
yes, he is.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you guys do is you auction real estate. Okay, so why we have you here, and Kathy, thank you so much for being on the call, and you've been so gracious and coming from contribution, is that when I grabbed your card, I didn't tell you at the time, but I said, you know what, I need to connect with Kathy because we are in the gathering information stage of putting together an ISA team, and we can go and do something that's a huge game changer for our team and willy-nilly and half-ass it, or we can be intentional and get as much information to make an intelligent decision. Which would you guys prefer? The second one? Second one or the first one?
Second.
Okay, let's go with the second one. So hence, here we are with Kathy. And Kathy, real quick, I didn't put it on here, but what grabbed my attention was that Robbie and all the ISAs were talking about a high DC, a DC or CD, and you're not a DC or a CD. What's your
Not
disc,
even close.
Yeah, what's your disc profile?
I am a 99I.
99I. Okay. So Laura over here is a 99I, and she's our first ISA, and I am a 99 I, and I'm the perfect IS. I'm the perfect converter, but the worst ISA because of my role in not being able to be in front of a phone. So I kind of want you to talk about that because Robbie, Laura kind of freaked out because I came back from Fargo saying you're fired. No, that's what she heard.
That's okay, Laurel. You have skills to be a great agent as well, so it's okay.
And I want you to speak to this because this is what Robbie said about you in that room that I was a witness of. If you have the mental discipline, it does not really matter what the F your disc profile is. If you have the mental discipline to be an ISA, you will be an awesome ISA. So speak to that. How do you do this role when you should be your disc profile should be a D? How do you do it as an I?
So let me back up and give you just a small brief history of how I even became into real estate. So I've been in real estate for about almost 15 years. I was in real estate for about 12. My husband and I have 6 children, ages, now they are 15 to 24. So they keep us on our toes. They're 9 years apart. They're all ours, and I was running like a mad woman. I burnt out about 5 years ago in real estate. I was a buyer specialist on Chip's team, and I decided to get out of real estate completely, let my license go, and never wanted to see it again in my life. Stayed at home with my kids. I have one that is high functioning autistic and needed some extra attention. So stayed home with them, kind of got back into the workforce, not in real estate, at a temporary level. And then about 2 years ago, I decided that I contacted Chip again and was ready to get back into real estate. So the difference is, though, is that I am a very, very high I. My I is 99. My D and C are pretty equal at about 53, 49. And my C is in the 30s. The difference with me, though, is I knew what I was giving up. A lot of people in the ISA department don't. They see the agents making tons of money, and their checks are $3,000, $4,000, and ours are, we get 300 of that, or whatever the case may be. And so I already knew what I was giving up, but I also knew the potential that there was in the ISA department for me to make an unlimited income. And so it really is a mental decision. I won't tell you that I don't struggle daily with keeping on task and staying focused. but I also know that if I stay focused, I make money. And that's the most important thing right now for us. So I think that's the best thing about eyes is that, you know, we're very driven as well, or we can be. And so, you know, chasing that shiny object. So I just keep that in front of me all the time and know what I'm chasing.
You know,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'll speak to what you said because I'll excuse my French, but I've never met a more driven mother effer than me. I'm a 99I, but I think what's great about having that mental discipline and being driven, you adapt. You rise to the occasion, you don't step out, you step up. So, all right, keep going.
Correct. Okay, so in my first year, I started on November 7th, 2 years ago. I went back to school, got my license, so, you know, had a little bit in there. So really started January 1st last year. And in that 1 year, I did 91, I had 91 closings. I average about 60 appointments a month here in the Midwest area. And then I also do referrals out. So there's a couple of things in our business here. We have 4 avenues of income. We obviously have our base salary, and then we have your bonuses, which is from your closings. And then we do a lot of referrals because we are in the Midwest. So I take advantage of people moving in and out of the state and helping them, you know, get situated or settle wherever they're coming from or going. And then I really work my SOI. I've had 10 SOI closings this year alone. My goal is 12, one a month. And I have 2 listings active and 1 buyer active right now. So I should hit that.
Can you define SOI? I know it means sphere of influence, but yeah, go a little bit deeper on what you define, what your team defines as a sphere of influence.
Are you saying friends and family, Attilio? That's who I'm selling with. I don't sell, I refer it into the agent. So I'm not even, like I go on the initial appointment to make the introductions and my friends still call me, but I refer it all back to the agent.
Yeah, that's what I mean by that. But your SOI, is any of your SOI, because some other teams do this, they'll consider SOI like past clients.
No. These are my friends and family.
These are people that if you were an Indian warrior joining our tribe, these would be the people that you knew before you joined our tribe, but not the people
Correct.
that you do business with after you've met our tribe, because this has been a constant.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, only people that are really connected to me and that would call me personally for real estate.
Gotcha. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so that's kind of a brief history of me. My goal this year is to clear 75,000, which is going to be a little bit of a stretch just because I've trained 2 new ISAs this year. We've lost one, coached one out, but we still have the other one. So that's a little bit of a challenge. So, and my goal next year is 100,000, which is totally doable. So I'll go through kind of these questions because I know we're on a time crunch. Stop me if you guys have questions, okay?
And
my day.
And yours,
go ahead.
Yes, so don't worry about the time at the end. If we go over, we go over. I want to preface anybody on this call that needs to get off at 9:00. You go ahead and do that, but we're going to keep rolling because this is Kathy is a special person. This is a special circumstance, and we want to suck the juice out of it, as I say. All right, Kathy. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
Thank you, Attilio. That was super sweet. So my day starts at 8 a.m. or about 8:15, only because I drop my child off, and then I'm at the office at 8:15. So that's when I start. Our other ISA comes in at 9, and so typically it's 9 to 5 as far as being inside the office. We are required to be in the office. I think you're more productive when you are there, and it sets the environment of what your workspace looks like for the day. So we are in office. Mine starts at 8:15, and then it goes anywhere from 4 to 6 p.m. Again, depending on my child's schedule. So I'm in here for about 8 hours. We do get an hour lunch in between there, and then we also have on-call time in the evenings and the weekends. And so my colleague and I rotate that. We basically set who's on call. Due to our schedules and our lives and stuff. So we usually rotate, and then every other weekend we're usually on call depending on what we have playing on in our personal lives. So that's kind of how our day goes. So we answer the phone from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. is when our phone can ring. Our Zillow numbers come in 24/7, so that's at our discretion if we want to answer those or not. She kind of chooses not to. I do, but I also chase the appointments a little bit different than she does. So it just kind of depends on personalities, I think. Do I prep?
Kathy, what's the disc of your partner?
You know, that's a great question. I think she's a little more even than I am. I think she's more SI than I think she's higher SIC is what she is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we prep the day before? This is something that we're working through to be a little bit more diligent about. We're working on our daily schedule and our weekly schedule. So that's something that's kind of in the works, only to mainly help us stay focused on where we're going to be calling and what we're going to be doing. And, you know, you guys probably are like us and have a lot of different meetings. We have on Tuesday mornings every other week, we have our team meeting, and we have an ISA meeting weekly. We also coach with Robbie every other week. So there's an hour there, and then we have one-on-ones as well. So that's something that's in the work as far as a daily schedule, as far as prepping the day before. Otherwise, we don't do a whole lot. We come in, we have a 9:05 huddle, just like you guys do at 9:45 or 8:45. We state what we did the day before, what our goals are for today, any challenges, and then move forward. So that's kind of how we prep for our day. The dialer that we use is actually Mojo. We do the single line in Sync, and then we also do the 3-line in Mojo. One of the things that we use Sync as our CRM. I know that's the next question. So one of the challenges that we've had with Sync is they are verifying leads now, and some are unverified, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not. It's created several challenges. So what we'll do is we'll push our leads to Mojo and use the 1-line and the 3-line dialer for those.
Okay. You said.
How do we?
You said.
Go ahead.
Think to verify the leads. I'm sorry, I missed that. What does that mean again? Or is it commission?
Do you guys use Sync currently?
No. And what is
Okay, don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay. See, this is good about having these meetings. Don't do that.
Yeah, we have Boomtown.
Yeah.
Down.
Just wait on your CRM. I think Robbie and them are testing some, and then we're looking at a couple other ones. So whatever you're using right now, I would use, and I would hold until like Robbie or some of the other higher ones. Not saying you guys aren't higher, but just some of the other ones are starting to test stuff, but I would not switch to Sync per se if you have something that's working okay. Just with a lot of legalities, a lot of the CRMs are, because they're being, I don't know if they're being sued with the do not call list and stuff, okay. Is that if I manually put in a lead, it's not verified because they did not actually register on their site. So it will not allow me to text out to them or to email out to them or to load them into the Sync 1-line dialer. Okay. So it's a little bit challenging.
Real quick,
so.
That's not an issue for us with Boomtown.
No.
Okay, thank you for pointing out challenges that we don't have. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sorry. Awesome. How do we prioritize our calls?
Yes.
So we train under Robbie, and we utilize his diagram. And so to look at his diagram, it's very challenging, and you're going, what on earth are all these circles? But once you understand the diagram and you work to his diagram, it's really simple. And so a new lead comes in, and 2 things, well, actually 3 things happen. You either talk to them and you set an appointment. So there's an appointment set, and they go into what we call buckets or labels. They're labeled by these categories. So a new lead would be a new appointment, could be. And so we assign that out, and I'll get to that here in a second. Or if we talk to them and we determine their timing and motivation, it goes into our A, B, C, or D bucket or label, and that's just based on timing. Do you guys use A, B, C, and D?
Generally for all our leads, we do use A, B. They're either an A, B, or C client. We haven't gone into that detail with the leads. In Boomtown, there is categories like new, qualify, nurture, archive. It's just a different definition. But I think what I learned from Robbie was that you even take that specific category and you even break it down even further, and you're prioritizing the actual individual categories so that you guys know who you need to get a hold of, like hell or high water, you gotta get a hold of these people today versus the rest of them that
Yeah.
can, if you don't get to them, if I correctly articulated that.
Yes, that's perfect.
But the way
So my D,
yeah, the
go
way
ahead.
you're talking is kind of like, it's like this diagram. We just had only our first coaching call with Robbie. So we're looking forward to,
Oh,
him,
good.
for him going in depth on the diagrams that you're talking about. But yeah, keep going, Kathy. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So you know, Ds are more than a year or more out. So obviously I'm not calling them every month. And so it allows you, like you said, to categorize in between those as well, which is great because, you know, if I have an A client, I need to be staying on top of that a couple times a week. Then we have the call buckets of like, we call them PB, PQ. Sorry, PB, PS, and Q, which is qualified means that they're like a Zillow or a Realtor.com or they've inquired. So they're a hotter lead or quality lead is what it is. So we put that label on there so we can sort by those as well. Because if they're inquiring, they're wanting information. And so we want to make sure we're touching them even more frequently than just a standard lead. The PB, PS, and Qs are ones that we have not gotten a hold of. So with this diagram, that's how we organize our day. And so Jennifer and I, that's my colleague, we make sure that we touch our A's and our B's that are due to our reminders that we have set in our sync CRM. It pops up who's supposed to be called today. So we organize it and make sure we touch our A's and our B's, and then we touch Q's, and then we pull some of our PBs, PSs, and then we go to C's, and then a couple of the other buckets, which are ones that are a little bit harder to get a hold of. And so we prioritize our calls in that order according to Robbie's diagram. What do I say on the phone? I'll get back to that one here in a second. Don't let me forget that one. Tracking system do we use for closed deals? Right now we use Top Producer, but I know that they're shifting. They're looking to get away from that, and I think they're looking at Brevity, but do not quote me on that. That's more of an admin question than ours.
Real quick question, Kathy. Are you guys KW?
Yes. Yep.
Because I don't know if Chip shared it from you from MegaCamp, but Gary Keller is committed $1 billion to all of this back-end systems. So it's a while out, but just passing.
Lance Logan is currently beta testing it.
Yeah, out of Houston.
And he does
wow.
deals. So.
Yeah, but cool. So a quick question. Robbie talked about the ISAs using like a Google spreadsheet that they're in real time updating as they go up throughout the day, so that you guys are like seeing some basically a scoreboard and you're competing with each other with appointments and calls. Do you guys use that?
So we have what's called, that's in the works. That's one of the things that, so Wednesday we went up early and I actually sat with Cody and Eric inside their office to find the little intricacies that we were missing in ours. And so that was one of them. So we use Hoopla, which is a TV screen that is outside of my office that updates as soon as we update. That's one of the pieces that we're looking at. I want them to change. I don't know if that'll work or not, but I would really like them because it will be in real time and it will, see Jennifer and I right now, this will answer another question. We share an office. That's another thing that's changing. Do not do that with your ISAs, especially if they're an I. It's way too much distraction. There's too much talking. And granted, we still get a lot of work done, but I'm pretty sure I drive her crazy and I know she drives me crazy.
And I'm going to insert something here before Laura has us spending $10,000 a month on office space, because Hawaii compared to Kansas and Fargo, I'll just give you a heads up, Kathy, because I'm going to nip this in the bud. Our real estate expenses are about 3 to 4 to 5 times more per square foot than what you guys are paying for there. And Lance in Houston has 3 ISAs per room, and he's got I think 9 of them. So and they're three in a room. So for us, we got, it's an adaptability thing and a cost thing. I wish.
Yeah.
And you know what? We have plenty. We've got spaces and stuff, but for us, no, I'm serious. I wish we had I wish we were doing. You know what? I'm gonna speak it. When you guys get us to 400 transactions a year, you guys will all have individual offices. Keep going, Kathy. Because Eric, never say no.
I would like to say,
Yeah, say
Yeah.
well,
yes.
I would like,
and when. 400 transactions, you have your own damn office. Keep going, Kathy.
you're fine, because I think that's kind of Chip's mentality as well. Everything costs money. And so with that, I've been in this office for 2 years. So it's not that, and I've trained 4 ISAs through it, and only 1 is still remaining. And so, you know, you work with what you have. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more attention to work. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is the case for an I. However, know that when you need to separate, if you have an exterior space that you can go to, separate. So I think that's the important thing, is to know, you know, hey, I've got to get this done, so I need to step out for an hour and just pound out the phones, because it is your money.
Yeah, and not that we're cheap, everybody on the phone, including Kathy, we have an AOD, we have an ISA room, it's costing us $1,000 a month and no one's in there. So anyway, keep going, Kathy.
All right. Let's see. And honestly, right now we are very low scale. Nothing like Robbie's setup at all. They have 2 monitors. They have their own space. They have you know, a lot of technology and stuff. I use my own laptop. I use my own cell phone. I have a headset that's provided by Chip. So in reality, again, you do with what you have, and you keep moving forward, and you know, just are successful with what you do.
Yes.
Let's see, daily goals for dials, contacts, and appointments. Ours is 250 dials, 25 contacts, and then 2 appointments is our goal. My goal for the year, or for the month, is 60 appointments each month. I don't really go by a bell curve. I know that a lot of people do. Only because I broke it down. I knew my numbers last year, what my conversion ratios are, which I think is very, very important. If you haven't watched the video that Jim Renfro did on setting your 2019 goals, make sure you watch that. Because when you really know your conversion ratio, I was able to dictate last year how many dials I need to make to get an appointment, to get a closing. When I started the year, my conversion ratio was 37%. So I had 37% of the closings of the entire company, and I'm up to, the ISA department's up to 60%, and I'm up to about 48%. So about 48% of our closings on the team are mine, or I say mine. They're ones, appointments that I gave out. So when you really, really know your numbers, that's when you're most successful. So even for that high I, dig in there and know your numbers.
The Jim Renfro video, was that in KW Connect? Is that on YouTube? Where can
It's in Lead Geeks.
Lead Geeks.
Yeah.
On on Facebook. Yep.
Renee, can you get that video, get somebody to snag it for us and send it to the whole team sometime in the future? Thanks, Renee. All right, keep going, Kathy.
We
Thank
can
you.
have it today since tomorrow.
Okay. How do I deal with all the rejection? You know, that's a great question. You just keep going. It really is honestly a mindset. When I first started, I think there was one day I was hung up on 5 times, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. But you just have to literally talk yourself through it. And I think it just becomes, you know, grow thicker skin, I guess. And I was in Mary Kay before this, and we were always taught that you celebrate the no's, because you need so many no's to get to so many yeses. And so when you start to look at it that way, it really does put a different spin on it. So if somebody hangs up on me, I honestly, they've already hung up, and I'm like, have a great day, you know, just so I can kind of get my frustration out at them. I'm still being polite, and if they hear me, I'm wishing them to have a great day.
Yes.
So I just, you know, it just comes with time, I think, but don't concentrate necessarily on the rejection. Celebrate that you got a no, because you know that there's a yes around the corner. And, you know, some days you have no appointments, and that's okay, because as long as you look at the entire picture, and overall at the month, and then the year and the quarter, and you're successful there, then that's what really matters. Don't beat yourself up over having a day where you have no appointments, especially if you have new follow-ups. That's the key right there, because that's future business. Well, so remember that piece of it.
is it a good thing to say that I didn't get any appointments today, but I made some connections?
Mhm.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Very much so.
Cool.
Because that's our job. That is truly our job, is
Yes.
just to connect with people. My compensation, so I have a base salary of $2,000 a month. And then I have a bonus, which is 10% of the appointment, or the closing, sorry. And their split is different, and don't even ask me what theirs is because I don't even pay attention. So
Okay.
how I figure it, and it's supposed to be, I believe, 10% of the agent's commission is how it is. Because I know some are 5% of the gross commission. Mine is 10% of the agent's commission.
Quick,
So
quick question.
what's that?
Yeah, quick question to put this in context. What is the average price of the home in Kansas City?
$241,000.
Wait, say that one more time.
$241,000.
Did you say $241,000? My team is snickering because they know where I'm going with this. Did you say 241?
Yes.
$241,000.
I'm going to assume that you're a little higher than that.
Like way higher. So our team's average sale price is $500,000. The median price for a home in Hawaii is $800,000. So.
So who's letting me come stay with them?
Yeah, you're doing ISA scared straight for us. Thank you so much. So $241,000. And then what's the low temperature in the winter there?
It can get negative.
Negative? You mean like below zero?
Yes, not always, but it can, yes.
Holy cow. Negative below zero temperature in Kansas. Are you selling a lot of homes?
Yes.
In the winter or in the summer?
Spring, summer is our busy, or, our bell curve is what we call it. So those are the peak months.
Okay.
That we sell. However, I say that, and I think we have 25 closings this month alone in October or something like that. And last November we had 32. It was one of our highest months. So usually they're, the holidays, and then even January though, things start to, this past January, my appointments was 79. Because people are starting to think, oh, I'm getting a tax refund. What am I going to be doing? Remember that the work you're doing today is 3 months from now. And you guys know that, but, so the work that we're doing today is not going to pay us today. It's for 3 months from now. So if you're not being paid today, or you have no closings, look at what you did 3 months ago. And if you were on vacation or you weren't prospecting, well, it shows today. So you need to be mindful of that as well.
And you said the average price of a home was $241,000, and you guys have a degree temperature there. I just want to make sure. My team's like kicking me underneath the table right now, but they get it. It's sometimes. Would you say, Kathy, we need comparative knowledge to appreciate what we have? And this is true of myself too. It's always good to have knowledge so we appreciate what we have even more so. Kathy, how many licensed agents are you supporting on this team? How many agents do you have to give appointments to? How many do we have? Go ahead, Kathy. We're on the grow. So right now I have 2 buyer specialists. I have another one, but she is out on maternity leave. And then I have one listing specialist. I have 1 showing specialist. So she works with one of my buyer specialists. And then I have 2, what Robbie would call individual agents. We call them expansion agents. So they can take buyers or sellers. So technically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active and 1 that's out on maternity leave. So let's call them 6. And how many closings did you guys do last year with 6, basically, whatever you're going to define them, 6 licensees? How many closings last year?
250.
250.
I think it was 252. Yeah.
252. What I'm doing is I'm raising the thermostat for our team. 132 last year with way more agents than that.
150 now.
Or whatever that is. So
We had a lot of agents last
and we had a lot. I think we had 11 or 12.
Yeah.
We had a small army with 150 transactions.
Wow.
You guys did it with a Navy SEAL team, and you did 252.
We're down to 8 now.
We're down to 8.
We got 8 licensees.
Okay. So anything else on compensation? It's that plus the 10%. Any other income streams? Well, what do you get when
Well, I
you
have,
go ahead?
well, referrals. So
Yes.
we refer out everything that's under 80. We do not touch because it's not cost effective for our team. So anything under 80, we refer out. And then also like I said, if clients are like, oh, I'm moving out of state or I'm moving into state, then I say, oh, do you have a house? I've sold houses in Michigan and Nebraska and all over, just by getting that referral piece, because it's another avenue of income for me, or sending them to an agent. I have someone looking in Las Vegas right now with an agent.
Do you get,
And so we refer out.
you get 10% of the referral fee.
So the referral fee is 25%, and then I think we get the majority of it.
You
So
get-
I make more on a referral than I do on anything else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of that is because before I came, no one had ever utilized that piece of the business before.
Yeah.
So because I had real estate background, and knew the possibility of that being an avenue of income, we've utilized it to its fullest extent.
Yeah, and Kathy, to come from contribution back to you, we have VAs that track all these referrals. We also have an online system that tracks these referrals and checks in with the agents. So we have a whole back-end system on our referrals. And Chip's a rate agent, right? He's got Barbara Corcoran?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've got the rate network that we really stay in contact with, and we kind of stick out like green thumbs because we're here in Hawaii. So we split ours 50-50 with the agents on that because we have so much more back-end support on that and follow-up. We've actually got, I guess it's kind of like ISAs for the ISAs because our VAs follow up on those referrals. But all right, so referral income, base salary, 10% of the agent side, any other income streams?
My SOI, and I worked that really hard just because, again, I know that it's a great source of income because it pays me like a referral. So I refer them into our agents here. I go on the initial appointment, and then I'm paid that 25% referral fee.
Now you physically, face-to-face, are going on that appointment, right?
The initial one, yes, because they trust me to do their real estate business. They don't know my team yet. And so I need to make that connection with the agent and my friend. So I do the initial one, yes.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
I never show a house. I do not have access to showing houses. I don't do any paperwork. I do nothing there. The agent is responsible for doing all of that. I just do the initial contact, and if they have any questions or something, they sometimes will text me or, that kind of stuff.
So even as a high eye, and we're tempted to make all nice, warm, and fuzzy when the client comes in the office, if we're saying yes to meeting them in the office, then we're saying no to prospecting in that moment. So it's not about us and meeting that client or greeting them when they come in the office, unless they're friends or family. It's about letting the agents do what they need to do, and then you keep dialing and getting the next appointment, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And I know we still got a couple more questions, and we're going long on this. How's your time? We want to respect your time.
You're okay. I'm okay. I blocked off some time, and I knew 15 minutes was going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Let me see. We didn't really talk about what to say on the phone. I'll be honest. So we used to use LP Mama, which I think you guys use. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what I got into with Robbie, to give you some preface, is that we are doing a mind shift on that. See what
Perfect.
Robbie, and you were in the room with me when I started. I told everybody I was a question hog. I was probably asking most of the questions because it's all new to us. But what I was telling Robbie is that LP Mama, and I know where he's going. He's doing what they ram down our throats in bold and everybody else there with the scripts. It's not a chronological order of a conversation that's going to take place. And I tell our team members it never does. But it gives you categories of conversations.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily a checklist that you got to get through, but it keeps you from, in Hawaii, we call it talking story or chit-chatting, where you're just going on and on and on and on and never coming to an end point, because that's not productive either. But I get what Robbie was saying. It's about connecting, and then when you get into a specific category, going 3 deep with the questions. And but tell me more. Tell me more about. Here's the and I want to drill this down. I really introduced to the team in the beginning after the introductions, and they connect the dots and they know who you are, and they're not going who, what, Why are you calling? Where are you calling from?
Yes.
What is this? What time of day is it? What's my name? No, I'm just kidding. Is that once you get through all of that and their brain is in sync with your brain, that the very next statement is, I'm just checking to see if you're curious or are you looking to make a move? And that's the critical branching conversation or statement. What is your like, hey, how do we get the conversation into real estate sentence?
Yes. Yes. So if you called me, or if you registered on the site and I called you, I would be like, hi, is this Attilio? And you would say yes. And I would say, great, this is Kathy at Glennon Real Estate Experts. I just noticed you were viewing some properties on online and just wanted to see if you were curious or looking to make a move.
Okay, so you are doing that. You know what,
Yes.
Kathy, I'm just curious.
Just curious? What's got you curious today, Attilio?
Bingo, that's it. It's what I'm telling them is that it just, instead of it being a shutdown situation, it's just a branch in the conversation, and you gotta have your comebacks and your next statements and as the branch you go down, but we gotta circle it back around to the main branch, which is we are talking to them about buying, selling, or investing in real estate eventually. It may not be in that exact second, but we've got to be able to not be completely off in the weeds and somehow stay on the trail. But tell me more about this conversation. What if you get the lonely old senior citizen that just needs somebody to talk to? What do you do with that conversation?
That's a great one. And we get those quite often. You know, we honestly really redirect the conversation back. We state what they say, you know, gosh, I'm so sorry, you know, that you're going through this, or, you know, wow, that sounds like you had a great day yesterday, or whatever the case may be. And then we just, so tell me this, Attilio, are you currently working with an agent or just kind of looking online right now? You know, so you just keep bringing it back. So LP Mama for me is my guideline. Those are the pieces that I need to hit throughout the 10 minutes of being on a conversation. And so I use Real Impact, which is what Robbie's is. And we use the cards for role playing. I don't know if you picked up a set of those cards or not, Attilio, but that would be a great investment for your team to mind shift them from LP Mama to Real Impact. The most important piece to remember is that LP Mama is your structure, in my opinion. Robbie may think differently, and you know, you guys, it's just my opinion. Because you have to have those key pieces to know where to direct the conversation. And as long as you can use those key pieces, number one, to redirect the conversation, just like you were saying with someone who's lonely, or to move through the conversation. Sometimes, you know, if you have a high D, they don't care about telling you their life story, you know, so you're pretty direct in saying, what's got you causing to move today, you know, or just, I mean, it's just very simple and to the point, but you still need to make sure that you get the motivation just in a different way is what it is. But it has been very helpful and very successful in allowing us to convert higher than what we were using LP Mama, because it was just scripting, and this is more of a connection piece. Now, I'm a high I, so as you can tell, I like to talk to people, so it wasn't a big deal for me. Yes. It was just retraining your brain into and how you ask the questions. You know what I'm saying? It's not that you are getting different information. It's just reframing the questions that you're asking already.
The game that you talked about, I saw it on the counter there. What was the name of that game again?
Actually, I have it right here. Let me look. We have two sets because we have two different offices. It's called Connecting with People. Is what it's called.
Connecting with People. Renee, I need you to order the Connecting with People from Hatch Coaching.
Yes.
You know what, get 2 copies just in case, because for some reason, whenever we have something in the office, it seems to disappear and grow legs, and then we got to go figure out where it's at. So we have the backup copy.
Yeah, it's perfect. You guys will love that.
Yeah. Okay. And then,
now,
keep going. Sorry.
The key piece there, really fast in that role play game. So we don't use the same terminology as they do. So a rambler is a ranch. stalls or garages. So be aware of that their terminology may be, you may need to tweak that. So when you're reading the cards, you might be like, what the heck are they talking about?
Yeah.
So just be aware of that.
We say grass hut.
You say what?
We say grass hut.
A grass hut?
No,
No, you don't.
Nobody lives in a grass hut. That's on the Gilligan's Island. But,
I'd like one on a beach, please.
we say on the beach.
Can I get it for 240,000 instead of 500?
Yeah, no. I had a guy from Allen, Texas, talk to me. The other day. He wants a condo on the beach for 350,000. And then I put the phone on mute and I guffawed and laughed and threw up my drink. I got on the phone and said, yeah, we might be able to, figure something out, but let's talk a little bit more about what your investors are. But
maybe an outhouse.
So again, quick question: how many times a week, and what's your frequency and time span, and when do you do this role play?
We roll, so we role play in the ISA department every day at 11:30. And then we role play with the agents usually after our meetings, so twice a month. And then they role play on their own after their huddle, not on their own, but with the group. And Carol leads them. I think you met Carol there. She leads them after their huddle. They role play, I think, 3 times a week.
So you guys role play every day at 11:30 for how long?
About 15 minutes is what we plan for, 15 to 30 minutes, just depending on the day and the scenarios that we have come up. We'll either role play something that's real that we've had, or a scenario or a challenge, or whoever's on cue for that day will be the agent the entire time, and the other person will come up with scenarios to throw.
And by the way, if anybody needs to get off the call, feel free to do so. We won't think you're rude. This is going way longer, but it's good and valuable information. So we appreciate Kathy's time. Kathy, if you need to get something, I think we've got about probably another 5-10 minutes, and then we're good, because I want to respect your time and everybody else's. And then, but they can leave, so it's like I'm still respecting their time. They can leave. Okay. So every day at 11:30 with the ISAs, and then you said after your team meetings, your ISAs are role playing with the agents. Correct. Okay. And your team meetings are twice a month.
Correct.
Okay. And then you wait. There was that time. What was the third time that you guys role play?
The agents role play after their huddle.
Oh, okay.
With Carol.
With Carol. Okay.
Yep. 3 times a week.
3 times a week. Was it Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something? Or they just do huddles 3 times?
I think it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. Agent
yes.
role play. Okay. And I guess we're getting down to the end. Laura, what kind of questions do you have?
Can you briefly talk about the ISA to agent relationship and the way that you guys kind of facilitate the dance with the clients?
Yes.
You know what?
I'm actually looking at that on my board. So I have it on my whiteboard, and that was the one piece I'm looking at through the questions that I don't think we've touched on. That's really important. So I'll go a little bit slow, Laurel, so you can write notes, because this is really honestly an important piece. So what we do is when I set an appointment, the very first thing that we do, because there's more than one of me, is we schedule it on the agent's calendar, because I'm afraid somebody else is going to block out another ISA will block out that time. So that's the very first thing that we do, is schedule the appointment on the agent's calendar for them. Do you guys schedule it on their calendars?
Well, we have a different system. The short answer to that is yes, but we're working on the efficiency of that, which is part of the reason I asked.
And I think the answer is we're trying to figure out what exactly is going to be the best system. So this is great input. You drop it in their calendar.
Yes. So we have a Google Calendar, and I assign it on, so everyone has a Gmail account. That's how we do it. And so I assign it on the Chip Glennon Gmail account, and then I tag the agent in there as well. So it's on 2 calendars. Then the next thing that happens is I put in all of my notes from the conversation with the client, so that they can kind of see. There's bullet points in there. So if it's a listing appointment, I put in, like the address, what do they owe? Just the key pieces. What do they think it's worth? Are they interviewing other agents? Those kind of things. If there's an MLS number from a previous listing, I'll pull that and put that in there. If it's a buyer, I'll put in bullet points to know what they're looking for in a house. So, you know, obviously the notes that you've obtained, why they're moving, that kind of stuff, go into the notes section. Then what we do is we assign the agent in sync. I don't know how Boomtown works, but we have to assign our agents in order to see the lead. So that's another step that we do. Then we schedule 3 reminders. The first reminder is for an intro call from the agent. So the agent can see this and it actually pops up on their calendar. They get a text reminder as well that they have a reminder due for an intro call to this client. Chip likes within 30 minutes of it being scheduled. Obviously our agents are very busy, just as I'm sure yours are. And so I figure as long as it's within the time frame that I've stated to the client, then I'm okay with that. So usually, you know, if I scheduled an appointment today, then they would be calling by 5 o'clock tonight to confirm it and introduce themselves. The next reminder that is set is notes. So I put in the tagline, notes please. It's a reminder to the agent, usually in the evening time, because that's when they do like their admin work a lot of times, for them to be putting in the notes on the appointment and how it went and did they get agency, things of that nature. If they got agency, then I let them take it over. I'll touch base once in a while with the client, but I usually let the agent take it over. If they do not get agency, it stays in my hands. Until agency is either obtained or, you know, if I need to re-chase it, if it was a no-show or something like that, I'll do that.
And just to translate so everybody knows, when you say agency, what you're talking about is a buyer's rep agreement or a signed listing agreement?
Correct. Yes, it has to have the signed, it has to be a signed agency. Until it's a signed agency, it's my lead. They don't get to claim it until they have ownership of it, which is signed agency.
And until they do that, if they screw it up and drop the ball, that can also be reassigned.
That is correct.
Okay.
And we've done that several times as a teaching moment. The third reminder, the third reminder is to myself, and that is usually the day after the appointment happens, so that I can call, check in, make sure that they connected well, that there's no personality conflicts, or that, you know, everything went okay with the client. This is great because if the agent doesn't tell me right away as well that they were a no-show or something, I can, you know, call and find out, hey, what happened? Or if the agents call me right away and they're like, hey, this dude didn't show, I'm on the phone immediately to them and saying, hey, you know, just want to check, make sure everything's okay. You had an appointment with my agent at this time at this place, and just want to make sure, you know, you're safe and okay. They're always really apologetic.
How do you, and thank you for that overlay, that was really nice. How do you determine, what's your guys' system for who gets the lead? Is it the people that bring in you nice warm cookies, they know how to convert?
No.
They come in with a machete and say, give me all the leads. How do you determine, is it round robin? How do you guys do that?
So I wish it was bribery. I'd have a lot more nice stuff in my office probably, but no. No, it's honestly due to their goals, is how it's situated as well, because some have higher goals than others. And so, you know, if I have Sarah, who has twice the goal amount than Lauren, then she needs twice the appointments to reach that goal. We also watch capacity. I'll be very honest. I know my agents very well, and I can tell when they're getting pushed to the limit and they're dropping the ball. If they don't do these steps, then we pull back, and we will. And if I see, we'll be like, hey, do we need to hold for a couple days so you can get caught up? You know, or if I only have, you know, a couple agents on the weekend, I'm like, okay, on Monday and Tuesday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold on you so you can get caught up, make sure we're not missing anything, nothing's getting through the cracks. And so it's kind of honestly just a dance, like Laurel said, knowing your agents and knowing their capacity. And remember that gets stretched. It's just like a rubber band. So each time that you stretch them and it goes back, then they're able to stretch a little bit more the next time. So it's always a fluid motion between the ISAs and the agents. And being honest, trust is a huge thing. I made an agent mad the other day, and she came in and we talked about it. And I said, you know, this is a piece that this is a piece that I should have done different, and I'm very sorry about that. But I wouldn't change what I did, and this is why. You know, so I think communication is huge. Doesn't mean that we always understand what's happening, but I think that as long as we're heard and know that you're coming from a place of positive intent, then, you know, that's a big piece on a team. And so I think that's the most important thing. And thankfully I'm on a team where we really do care about each other.
Yeah, nobody's taking anybody's head off because they understand that there's either something going on in their lives or that and it's nothing personal and we just need to communicate. But so I'm going to give you a new title. Your name is called the Governor, and it's like when everybody's around the person that's head of the household, they're like, Governor, what can I do for you today, Governor? And then it segues into an actual mechanical part. It's actually in some rental cars have this. The Governor is actually what limits the speed. So you can't take your rental car and go 150 miles per hour. There's an actual mechanical item in there or in the software called the Governor that regulates the speed and kind of keeps things under control so that we don't drive off a cliff on our rental car. So you are the Governor. Thank you, Governor. May I have another appointment today, Governor? But anyway, okay, so what other questions, Laura?
Wait, I have a couple more steps in here. We're not done yet. there's a bunch. The next thing is we send a confirmation email and text to the client saying where they're going to be meeting. We always meet in an office, so it has the location of our office, the date, the time, and who their buyer or listing specialist is going to be. And then if it is greater than 2 days, so which we really try not to do, but let's say that, hey, I'm working all week and it's today that I set the appointment and they can't meet until this weekend, I'm sending them a confirmation card in the mail as well. So those are our steps for the handoff to the agent. Do you have any questions about those?
No.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else in this handoff thing? It sounds like an awesome, it's like a ballroom dance. It's very choreographed.
It is.
Very elegant, very tasteful. Judges give you a 10.
Yeah, and we wrote it out so the agents could see it as well, so they know what we're doing to help make them successful. Because if they don't close the deal, we don't get paid. Yeah. So you know, everybody wants to be successful in this endeavor.
So there's a lot of, and my favorite word, I forgot where I took it from, interdependency. Oh, that was Lance Logan's group. Their team, all their leaders, their individual agents, everybody kept using that word, interdependency. It's not.
Yes.
We have a saying in Team Lally, and this is from Monica Reynolds, if you say I, you're fired. It's we, it's us, it's our team. So awesome. Laura, any other questions?
Yeah, just really quickly, and I know a lot of teams do it differently, but when you're on the phone with the client and you are licensed, so you are giving them pertinent information, are they sometimes confused as to why they're not meeting with you? And if so, how do you explain that to them?
Actually, I just explained that we are very different than an average standard real estate agent. So if you ask me that, Laurel, I would say, gosh, Laurel, you know what? Actually, we work a little bit different than average agents do. And so I'm on a team. And so my job is literally customer service. So I'm here for you with any of your questions or any concerns that you have. I am a licensed agent, so I can answer most of your questions. However, you really don't want me in the field. I haven't been in the field for a very long time, and my buyer specialist knows the market like no one else. So she's going to be able to get you the best deal on the house and let you know that if this is a hot deal, that how fast you need to move. She'll also be able to help you negotiate any extras that you need as far as like closing costs or home warranty. So she's really the better choice for you to be working with as far as being in the field. But please remember that when I send your email, my phone number will be in the bottom, and you can always call me with any questions, okay?
Do you already know what agent you're going to send them to when you're at that point in the conversation? Because if you said she, and then Kevin rolls into the room, like, Kevin, are you thinking about
well,
Kevin? No.
We only have girls. Chip's our only guy. So, so thankfully I'm covered there for the moment. But the majority of the time, yes, I do know who I'm going to be giving the appointment to because I've already checked their schedule.
Gotcha.
Number one. But if I don't, again, my team's all girls, so it's a little bit different there.
Okay.
So yeah.
We'll figure that out. Anyway.
Does that help, Laurel?
Yeah, no, that helps a lot. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Kathy, but it's Laura.
Laura, I'm so sorry. Why didn't you correct me an hour ago?
It's okay.
It's totally fine,
That's
totally fine.
okay. That's how we
Oh
do it.
my gosh, I'm so sorry.
The rest of the day.
That's fine. That can be my new
Oh,
name.
geez.
That's all right. That's okay. You're 5,000 miles away. I'm surprised you're not calling me, Chip. No, but
Sometimes speakerphone is hard to hear on. I'm so sorry.
no worries, no worries. What are the questions, Laura? Because I see a couple more here, then we'll wrap it up.
For me, you pretty much answered the logistical questions that I had, so I'm really, it's very insightful.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. Kathy, what's your number? If you could only give us one tip, and everything you shared on this video got burned up and blown up, and we can never look at it again, what would be the one thing that you want us to take away from this?
Oh gosh, it's nothing technical. I've been in service my whole life, and when you don't concentrate on the dollar and you concentrate on the person, you will be successful.
So it's all about the connecting and human being to human being. Okay.
Yeah, I know that's simple and stupid, but I'm not kidding. When you take the money out of the equation and what you can make and what and you really just find out about them, that's all that matters.
I was on. I took a buyer call because I'll just check in every once in a while to keep the axe sharpened. And I was on the call with this guy for an hour. And typically in the past, we would flip out. I know Adrienne, my business partner, she's a high D and going, WTF, why were you on there for an hour? And I say, because I connected with this person. They're a year and a half out. I know how our agents are or how people in general are. You're here a year and a half out, your eyes start glazing over. I'm like, this guy is not going to be calling any of their agents. He's not going to be calling any of their teams. He's not going to be doing anything because I know a lot of detail about this guy. And we recorded the call. We're going to be using it in a huddle. But I'm going to take you through that process of connecting with this person. It wasn't anything about money. What is your number? A wise person learns from their own mistakes, and a happy person learns from the mistakes of others. What was the biggest mistake that you've ever made so far in this ISA role?
Oh my gosh. Probably promising a client that we would come check out her, okay, and you guys probably don't even have those, but mobile home on 40 acres an hour away. Yeah. And Chip sent her a $100 gift card because she was so upset with us that we weren't coming out with our guaranteed sale program. And Chip's like, ma'am, there's no way I'm buying this. He was nice about it, but that was probably the biggest mistake that I made.
That's okay, but you learn from it, right? It's okay to make mistakes so long as they're new ones. I saw that.
Yes.
And just to wrap it up, any last funny stories about a conversation that was funny, hilarious?
I don't have a funny one. I was thinking about this, but I had a great conversation last week that I'll share with you. This lady called in on a house, and she was really, honestly, she says, is it for rent or rent to own or just for sale? And I said, well, this one here in particular is just for sale. So anyway, we started talking. She was having a horrible day, and we were just conversing, and she really had just claimed Chapter 13 a couple months ago. And long story short, I connected her with our lender. I said, let me just put you in touch with our lender so we can get a financial picture, a history of your finances, and really come up with a game plan on what we need to do to move forward to make you successful in buying a house. It may not be next month, but maybe next year and the next 2 years we can do that. And she started crying and stuff. And she says, you have no idea. She says, I've had the worst day, and I just prayed to God that he would put someone in my path just to help me through this day. And she said, and then I called you. And she says, I have a son who will be living, we got down into the weeds, and she said she had a son who was 16. So I started asking her about him, and he is nonverbal autistic. Oh, and she goes, and sometimes I just ask God why, and why he gave me him, and why. And this lady she was in tears. And then I said to her, and this was not me speaking, I'm Catholic, so I don't know if you guys understand this, but it was truly the Holy Spirit saying these words. But I said to her, God gave you that child because he knew that you could love him in a way that he needed to be loved. and she started bawling. And so you really honestly, myself and Jennifer were in tears as well, but you really truly have no idea when you answer that phone what you're going to get, or how you have the ability to impact other people, whether it's in a great way or just being supportive. I don't know if we'll ever sell this lady a home, but what I do know is that we were in the space that she needed us to be in at that moment. And that to me is more powerful in my job than even making a commission, because I know that God is using me to bring other people success, and along the way, I'm also getting blessed as well. So it's not funny, but it's a great reminder that, you know, be open every time you answer that phone, I think.
Yeah, and you're really connecting with me because I am Catholic and I know exactly what the Holy Spirit is, and that was awesome. And my team knows me. I get super emotional, and whenever I can't start talk, even though I'm not a shortage for words, then Laura and Brooks step in because they know that I'm getting all verklempt.
Yeah, Kathy, this is Brooks. I was just about to have to take over the huddle on the team part here because I saw Attilio melting at your every word. And well, this is one of those times I have to get out the life preserver and yeah, because he was melting there for a sec. Well, it still is. But anyway, I think he's okay.
Yeah. So we're good. Thank you so much for your time. Real quick before we get off the phone, we like to send out some aloha. I know you don't expect it or even need it or want it, but we are a gift culture. What's your mailing address over there at the office?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. It is.
We'll get it from you.
Oh, I do know because I have to print it in an email every day. It's 310 Northwest Englewood, ENGLEWOOD Road, and it's Kansas City, Missouri, 64118. I have to tell you, I got a surprise in the mail on Thursday, Attilio, and from you guys, and it was incredible. And you don't even know this, but that was my birthday.
Wow.
So that was super, super exciting and cool. I was so excited, and I did share them with Chip, and my favorite is macadamia nuts. So that was a true pleasure. So thank you. That was really sweet, and you did not have to do that at all.
That's okay. We like, what's our favorite? Laura likes it. What's our Maya Angelou quote?
Oh, people will forget what you said and what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
How you made them feel. I'm sure that lady with the nonverbal autistic 16-year-old is going to remember you forever and ever, because that is a great example of connecting. Thanks, Kathy, so much for being on this, on our huddle.
Thank you, guys.
And we appreciate you, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Laura, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me by phone or text or anything, okay?
I will. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.